Okay. Yeah, sorry. Like, I just have so much to say because, like, literally so much happened yesterday. And so I needed to make it into 2 videos. So, um, um, okay, so she told me that, um, I'm responsible. But it wasn't just that she was like, oh, you're very responsible. She was like, she stared at me and it almost seemed like she was like in pain and like ashamed because of what I've been through and like almost like proud of me. And she was like, you're like, she was like, her, I think her exact words were like, wow, like you're really responsible and like you're a really good, like, young woman. And like, you, like, I hope you know that. And like, you're gonna like do great things. And like, you, like, I just never gotten like a compliment like that ever, especially from like someone who's like virtually a stranger because we had been talking for like maybe an hour and like I'd never talked to her ever before. So like the fact that she said that to me and meant it so genuinely just was like a shock. And like at first I kind of like didn't want to believe her, but then like I did because I realized she's kind of right because I've been through a lot. Like, and I hate to admit that because to me that is like weakness, and to me that is like me like being like, oh, poor me, like feel pity for me, which I hate. I hate pity. I've been dealing with pity my whole fucking life. I hate it. But like I have been through somewhat more than the average person in America. Even that I don't want to admit because like who knows, like I just know what I've gone through, and I know that I know what I've gone through, and I know what other people portray, and a lot of other people don't portray the pain that I feel. So I feel like I've gone through more pain than the average person, but that may not be true. Like, so I always feel guilty whenever I say that because like it just doesn't feel right, because who am I to say that like I'm like better than someone else because of the pain that I've gone through? Like that's not like, I just like am conflicted because like I don't know if it's like it's the truth or if it's like just me deluding myself or like trying to like, I don't know. Like I've always struggled to admit that I've gone through a lot. Like I've always like had a problem admitting like anything bad has happened to me because I've always been like, yeah, it was not ideal, but like it changed me for the better, so it's fine. And that's not always true. Like it took a long time for those things to like stop like hurting me. And even now they still hurt me, but like the pain is a little less, and I feel like I have gotten better and become a better person, and like I've had like many life experiences that I will like not regret because like they've had such a huge impact on my life and made me who I am. But at the same time, like I'm also like minimizing like the damage that it's caused and like how much of an effect it had on my childhood and like everything. And I don't exactly know why I like hate to admit it. I just like don't like admitting any weaknesses because I feel like I've always been targeted for any like weaknesses that I've had as a child, whether from like bullying or just like because like people didn't like care, or like people just thought that they could control me, and like and so like I hate like admitting like anything like that. And I just also feel guilty about it because like it just makes me feel like I'm being like look at me, like I've gone through so much, like I'm so much more mature than you. Like no, like I don't like want to seem like that person. Like look at me, I'm a traumatized child, you better treat me special because I've gone through more than you. Like no, like I literally more than anything wish that I could be treated and like act like a normal person, because like it it's really hard to have to deal with the stuff that I've gone through, and to have to deal with like my disability and everything as well, or I don't disorder. I don't know what the fuck to call it. I like literally just discovered it the other day. Okay, like give me a break. And like it's just hard for me to admit. And the fact that she called it out, but not as a weakness, but as like a strength. And it wasn't just me convincing myself that it's a strength, that like, oh no, it's making me better, or it's made me better, or it's gonna make me better and stronger in the future. But she pointed out what I'm going through right now and what I've already done, and how strong of a person I am to have done those things, and not just like I don't know, like it was so meaningful. Like it was, I don't know how to express like how like grateful I am to like have that day happen, because I was not expecting it like at all. And like I was not expecting to meet her or like have her impact me in that way, and like to have my eyes like opened up and be like, you shouldn't be ashamed of, like, I'm always been kind of ashamed of the pain that I've gone through, because I've been like, it's not what other people go through, and I don't want to seem like I'm asking for attention. And like and with you guys it's easy because I'm talking to myself, and like I'm working it out to myself. I mean, if I was like in front of someone, like actual person, like I would like not be able to talk at all about pretty much any of this. And or if I did, it would be like incredibly awkward. So yeah, just like the fact that like she told me like just point blank that I'm like strong and like responsible for what I've done and what I'm doing. And like she like admired me, and she said that like she's been in the caretaking business for like around 15 years now, and she's been trained to do it, and she like can't even imagine like what like struggles like I've gone through like to take care of my grandma, and she doesn't even know about like the other stuff. And like it just made me feel like good, because like it felt like this isn't just like it, I feel like sometimes like all the pain that I've gone through, all the pain that I've suffered, I've mostly forgiven like everyone who's caused me pain, and just kind of like brushed it off and been like, they weren't themselves, or like they're going to change, and like as long as they're trying to fix themselves, or as long as they're not like aware of the fact, like I can forgive them, it's okay. Like, and it's really not, because like I keep making excuses and saying like it's my fault, like I'm not being good enough, and it's like not theirs, it's mine, like I need to be good enough for them and like help them more. And like it's just nice to like finally like realize that like I am doing enough, I'm doing more than enough, like I like like I don't need to be doing this, like it just feels like it's something that I need to do sometimes, but I really don't. And like it's just nice to be like appreciated for like what I've done and like what I am doing, even though like I do feel guilty about it sometimes, because I feel like I'm not doing enough, or like I'm neglecting other parts of like things that I need to be doing for that thing. And I'm like, I feel like sometimes I prioritize the wrong things, which is true, but like also it's with good reason. And like I don't, so yeah, that was very awakening, and like this was like, whoa. um And then on top of that, after, like, Mike and I did errands, and, like, I completely forgot to do the errands that I actually fucking needed to do because I'm an idiot. We went back to his house, or Dad's house, whatever. And, like, we're working on stuff and cooking dinner for Grandma and everything, and then, like, I talked about it, like, I needed to tell him about, like, my sexuality, and I needed to tell him about, like, my homework that I didn't do, or my summer school that I didn't do, because, like, it needed to be done, and I did kind of, like, fib and be like, yeah, I totally did it, like, yeah, no, I didn't do it, and I also wanted to tell him about my sexuality, because, like, I wanted to, like, ask him, like, what to do, and I thought, yeah, it's gonna be easy, he's my uncle, like, he's got it, like, we're fine, I'm comfortable with him, like, it's fine. Here's the thing, I kept waiting, and waiting, and waiting for this perfect moment, like, where I had, like, one of the sentences he said, or, like, some situation, or some, like, moment, which is, like, the perfect moment to just slide in and be like, hey, I'm pansexual. Like, obviously, that moment didn't fucking happen, because the world doesn't make little slots for people to just come out. Like, it doesn't just miraculously happen. Like, you have to get the balls and do it your fucking self, okay? And, like, I was just, like, pathetically waiting and waiting for that moment that was not coming. And so I ended up just kind of being like, hey, Mike. He was like, yeah. I'm just like, I kind of want to tell you something. And he was like, okay, like, get to it. And I was kind of like, and then I made it worse because I was like, I'm kind of, and I just kind of mumbled it and, like, whispered it. It was kind of like I'm pansexual. And, like, he was like, what? And I was like, I'm, it's so bad. Because the last time that I came out, well, the other time where I've come out, it's been to friends, and I've been comfortable with them, and, like, I know that the majority of, like, my generation is very accepting, and, like, a lot of times supports the LGBTQ community, so, like, I didn't have any fears with them. But, and I knew my uncle, like, understood too, but I was still kind of nervous about it for some reason. I don't know why. And then when I came out to my mom, it was more for her than for me. So, like, I didn't have any fear because I was doing it for her rather than for myself, which I have this thing where, like, I'm more terrified of doing stuff for myself than I am for other people. So, like, if someone's, a perfect example of this is if someone's bullying me, I won't say anything, or I won't do anything, or I won't get as angry as I would if, say, someone was bullying someone else, and I would get really angry, and I would, like, fucking, like, hit them, or, like, push them away and be like, fuck off, like, leave this kid alone, like, what the fuck are you doing hurting someone? And, like, I would just get beyond pissed. And then if someone's hurting me, like, I'm kind of like, well, I might deserve it in some way, or they might just be, like, going through a hard time, and I might be helping them through that hard time by them hurting me. Like, just, it's so bad. And, like, I hate, like, my mind, because, like, it does that. And, like, a way that my friend put it was, like, because we think a lot alike. Like, she is literally, like, my mind clone. Like, but she was telling me, because I was telling her about the self-hate for, like, my ADHD and, like, everything else. And she was telling me that, like, you have to think of yourself as another person. Like, would you hate someone else who had ADHD just because they had ADHD? Would you call them stupid just because they have ADHD? And I was like, no. And she was like, that's what you're doing to yourself, though. And I was like, holy shit, she's right. Like, girl, smart girl. Smart girl, that girl. Like, I was like, whoa. Ooh. So yeah, I'm still, like, making excuses, but, like, I'm trying to think, like, how she said, like, think of it from an outsider's perspective. Like, would you hate yourself if you weren't yourself? And if the answer is no, then you probably shouldn't be hating yourself. So, stop hating your fucking self. Like, But, so I have that thing where, like, I'm more afraid to talk up for myself than I am for other people. And I'm trying to get over it. Like, I'm a lot further along with talking up for myself and, like, being myself and, like, fighting for myself than I was, say, like, 2 years ago. But, like, it's still a long process, okay? Like, it's still a very long process. So, so here I am, like, talking to Mike, just being like, hey, I am pansexual. And he's like, okay, cool. Like, that's interesting. And I was like, yeah. Oh, wait, no. You know what I said? Okay. It was, like, so bad. So bad. I was, like, trying to be, like, cool. I was like, you know what, Angela? Like, slide into this coolly, subtly. He's not gonna have any fucking clue what you're talking about until you blow it on him. And he's gonna be like, oh, my God. Shock. And then it didn't happen. It didn't happen. This is not what happened. I wasn't subtle whatsoever. I was like, hey, Mike? And he was like, yeah. Like, because I'd said, hey, Mike, like 5 times now. And he's kind of just been, like, folding his laundry, been like, girl, like, get to it. Goddamn. And I was like, hey, Mike? And he was like, yeah, bitch. Like, fucking say it already. And I was like, you know those, like, people that my dad doesn't like? And he was like, what do you mean? He doesn't like a lot of people. And I was like, how he's homophobic. And he was like, yeah. And I'm just like, I'm kind of the people that he doesn't like when he's homophobic. And he was like, okay. And I was like, but I'm not gay. And he was like, what? And I was like, I'm pansexual. And he was like, oh, like, what does that mean? And I was like, that means that I like boys and girls, and I also like transgender, and I like non-binary, and pretty like inclusive about like pretty much I'll fuck anything but something non-animate, basically. I didn't say that though. But like I said something to that extent, just more PG because like, you know, he's uncle. And he was like, oh, so that's cool. And I was like, wow. I was somewhat happy and relieved, but also kind of disappointed because I was expecting some kind of like, whoa. I'm like, wow, you're pansexual. Whoa. And like, oh, I accept you. Like, we're happy. Like, don't worry about your dad. Like, blah, blah, blah. I was hoping he would take that initiative and just kind of like roll with it. Magically reading my mind, you know? That doesn't typically happen. People aren't telepathic, you know? And so, he didn't get that cue from me, because no. And so he was just kind of like cool about it and like casual and just kind of like, cool, like, that's great, like, okay. And I was just kind of like happy because like he didn't like make a big deal out of it, but also kind of disappointed because he didn't make a big deal out of it because like, I don't know. But in reality, like, that should be what it should be like for everybody. Like, really, like, I really hope that in the future, like, literally, like, someone can come out as, like, fucking, like, in love with their, like, fucking toaster. And, like, people would just be like, yeah, okay, cool, like, whatever. Like, that would be fucking awesome, but also really weird. But also fucking awesome because, like, no one would give a shit about whoever you love or don't love. Like, you know, which is what I really love about my uncle. Because, like, he's kind of, like, he cares, but he also has this, like, nonchalant, like, I don't give a fuck attitude, which is cool. I wish I had that attitude. I don't have that attitude. I'm a nervous wreck attitude and don't know how the fuck to interact with people attitude, which is, not exactly the best attitude. But anyways, so he was kind of cool with it, and I was kind of, like, in shock, because I was like, oh my God, I said it. Oh my God, he didn't react. And then relief, and then kind of like disappointment, etc. And then I was like, holy shit, I forgot to mention the other part. And I was like, hey, Mike. And he was like, what? And I was like, there's another part too. And he was like, okay, get through with it. And I was like, summer homework? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, summer homework didn't happen. He was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I didn't do it. And he was like, okay. And again, the nonchalant, I don't give a shit attitude was like back full force. And he was kind of like, I mean, it's kind of bad that you didn't do it, but like, what are the repercussions for that? And I was kind of like, well, my credits will go down and I'll take away from like the class that I actually want to take. And he was like, well, it seems like you've already accepted that. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, so what's the problem? And I was like, like, I was just in shock because then I told my mom, she was like, all about like, I'm disappointed in you, like, how could you do this, like, how could you lie to me, blah blah blah. And I felt like, I thought the same thing would happen with Mike, and like I would feel guilty and even more like self-hatred towards myself and like guilt, even though I kind of had already accepted it and been like, well, it is the way that it is, but also kind of felt bad. He was totally fine with it. And then I went on to explain to him that, like, I was kind of afraid to tell my dad because, like, I knew I would have to tell him at some point. And I was like, should I tell him before I go to Hunter's or after? And he's like, probably after because, like, he will, like, you know. And I was like, yeah, I know. And so, yeah. But I think I'm going to tell him after because, like, yeah. Or better yet, he probably won't even realize until, like, after I'm done with it because he's not coming until the next semester. So I don't even have to fucking tell him, you know? Maybe I can get away with that. Maybe not, you know? But also he's really chill about it because, like, he understood because he has ADD. And so he was, like, talking about it and, like, you know, he really struggled in school. And, like, he, like, gets my hate for school and, like, how it's so difficult for me. And I was like, thank you. Because, like, he understands. And, like, it's great. But also, like, this is another point with my dad. Like, it's also, like, very sad because he's extremely hypocritical. Because I know he's going to be pissed when I tell him that I didn't make it through math and that school's a really, like, struggle for me. And, like, like, his friend that he sometimes hires to, like, help me out, like, maybe once a month is not helping. And doesn't know how to help someone who, like, struggles the way that I do. Like, he can approach it from different angles, but he only knows so many, and, like, he doesn't really know how to help someone like me. And, again, the lack of repetition does not help either. And so, like, I want to explain that to him, and, like, you would think he would understand because he has ADD, just like my uncle does because they're twins, and just like I do because I got it from him. But of course, I know for a fact that he's not going to understand. He's going to be hypocritical and, like, be like, oh, like, you're making the mistakes that I did. Like, don't do that. Like, you're being, like, a failure. Like, being stupid. Like, how can you do this? Like, how can you lie to me? Like, blah, blah. Like, and I'm just kind of like, like, you would think he would understand. Because, like, he literally has the same disorder that I do. And he's the one that I got it from. But I know he's not going to understand. And Mike knows that too. Because he knows he was going to, like, blow up. And I was like, great. Like, great. Like, great. So, that's a joy to deal with. Also, it made me even more scared because I kind of, like, downsized, like, the whole, like, coming out to my dad, because I'm kind of like, well, my mom accepted it, like, my friends accept it, like, it's fine, like, I'm sure he'll be fine, like, he'll probably be pissed at me for, like, a few months, but then he'll get over it, probably, like, right? I've also been watching a lot of coming out videos of parents who, like, were sad because they, like, hated their kid, or, like, they didn't like their kid, or they feared their kid because of their sexuality when they found out, and then they learned to accept them, or, like, kids who were terrified that their parents wouldn't accept them, and then they already knew that they were gay and they were fine with it. Like, I was kind of like, oh my god, like, maybe my fears are, like, out there, you know? Then all of my fears came rushing back because I told Mike about coming out to my dad, and he was like, wait until you're safe. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, wait until you're, like, out of the house and, like, can live on your own and, like, don't need him before you tell him. And I was like, oh, okay, if his twin is saying this to me, then, like, what more guarantee do you need than he's, like, gonna literally shun me, like I have been fearing for a long time. So, like, yeah, I mean, I kind of, like, downsized the fear because, like, it just, like, with all the other people's stories, I thought, maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, okay, sure. Sure. So yeah, I think I'm actually gonna wait until I'm 18 to come out to him. I mean, I'm not gonna like overly hide it anymore, but like I'm also like not gonna tell him unless he asks until I'm 18 and I'm on my own, or at least I'm 18 and can live with a friend without it be considered kidnapping. Yeah, because if I can't live with my dad, then, and my grandma's probably gonna be in home by that time, like, and I can't live with my mom, obviously, like, then there's literally no place for me to live other than with a friend. So, unless I want to move back in with my foster grandparents, which literally, I mean, they're sweet people. They're also extremely religious. Don't listen to any music and serve the same 5 meals a week, like, just every week, like, just Also forced me to church. Also forced me to like this like weird like Bible study thing every Wednesday. Like, just they're sweet people, but like not my thing. Also, they never listen to music. Like all the time. Either sports was on the radio or on the TV, which we all know I don't like sports. Or it was like radio, like it was news, and I hate news. It was just like so bad. So the only music that I got to listen to when I was like living with them for that brief time, because I only lived with them for like a month, but like it was torture. Because like they're so sweet people, but like same time, like just my living hell was living with them because like I just hate their lifestyle. Like it's so boring. Also, we all know I'm kind of like a really big night owl, and like I would stay up until like literally 2 a.m. and like would want to listen to my music, but I didn't have earphones at the time, and my grandpa would go to bed at like literally 6 p.m. because he would wake up at like 5 to go to work. So like that's a problem. And like it was just really bad. And like the only ever like music that I ever was like really allowed to like sing to, because I could never sing in the house when they were there, because like like they just don't want that, and they never let me like too much of anything. And like it was kind of like the sweet like we care about you, but like we're not gonna let you do stuff because we care about you, because we think we're sheltering you and like we're protecting you. And I'm just like, this is like I'm in a jail cell. Like I was literally like, it was so bad. I was going insane. And they were such sweet people too, because I felt bad because I didn't like living with them, but like I truly like hated living with them. It didn't help they was still in that conservative tiny fucking town. Like, it's so bad. I hated it. But yeah, so no, not fucking live with them. Not live with my mom. Not live with my grandma. Not live with my dad. So like, what are my options? Move to Washington and live with my uncle if he's back in Washington, or Oregon, or wherever the fuck he's moving to, or maybe I could like room with my cousin in Boston, like, or I could like room with a friend for like maybe 6 months or so, and then like earn enough money to actually get a condo on my own and like live on my own. But like, so like I think I'm gonna wait till I'm 18, so like if he kicks me out, I at least like can go somewhere without like having like major like legal repercussions, I don't know why my eyebrows are bothering me so much right now. Like they just like look weird to me right now, and like it's bothering me. Okay, they probably don't look any weirder than normal, but like it just looks weird to me, so like I'm bugged about it. Okay, anyways, so yeah, that was my weekend. So fun. There's also one more thing that I wanted to talk about, but this video is about to end as well. Shit. Okay, I don't know. Should I wait? I should probably wait till I get the whole story across, because like it might be a huge misunderstanding as well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wait. But anyways, this is part 2 of Baby Wipes. I'm kidding. Okay, I might actually title it Baby Wipes because I just confirmed that it's gonna be Baby Wipes, but like still. Okay, anyways, bye.